Hello, my loves, and welcome to Daydreaming in the Garden. I want to start by saying thank you all so much for being here. You all have requested more in-depth videos, and your wish is my command. If you're new here, let me introduce myself and what it is we do here. I am the woman of many names, and you can call me Pork Chop. And here at Daydreaming in the Garden, we dive into those swampy waters and dig into those dusty generational closets. We take a deep look into trauma and how it affects us, and on today's episode, we will be discussing a topic that has been trending for far too long, and that is toxic love. What it should be known as is dangerous and unhealthy love. Now, for starters, let's remember that toxic love can come in any form and be a part of any relationship dynamic in your life, whether it be a mother or a father, to a friend or a cousin, or even your sibling or parental figure, and even in the most known dynamic, a husband and wife. Anyone can be a giver of toxic love, whether you've experienced it firsthand or, like many people, you are supporting someone who is or has been in a toxic relationship or experiencing toxic love. This video is here to take a deep look and expose toxic love for what it truly is. Dangerous and unhealthy, guys. Something that many of us has been conditioned to understand and acknowledge is real love. And that's because we have come from very traumatizing backgrounds and upbringings. And it's what we know, what we are familiar with. But like the old folks say, if you knew better, you do better. And that's what this channel is all about. So first, let's start off by saying that I applaud you for being here. You are so brave for deciding to choose you and love you. And that is always the first step towards healing. Thank you for being here, but also thank you for simply existing, for simply being, because you know that in itself is worth celebrating. You are amazing. You are beautiful or handsome, and you deserve happiness, healing, and a life of trust, healthy love, and new beginnings. I know for someone out there, you feel alone. You feel scared. And I just want to say you are not alone. I do understand. And if I don't, we can find someone who does. I am sorry for everything you are going through or have gone through. And I know that hearing you're strong doesn't make it easier, but you most certainly are so strong and so resilient. And this too shall pass. Okay, I'm sorry about, getting all emotional and whatnot. But since y'all have requested longer in-depth videos, I have granted the wish, but that means you're going to need some snacks and a blanket, because I'm going to break this episode down into two parts. The behavior of a toxic love from a narcissist or an abuser, which is exposing the manipulation magic, and the impact. The scars that they leave behind. And then directly after this, I will be uploading the second part to this video, which is Love After Lockup, where I will do a deep dive into how to heal and love again after being in or being a victim of toxic love. Because let's remember that my videos are not only to help those going through romantic trauma, but any relationship dynamic. And I will always stress that throughout all my videos. Each segment will have in-depth details, and I will also be providing real-life examples from my own narcissistic run-ins. Now, without further ado, I'll give you some time to grab your snacks and a comfy blanket, your emotional support stuffy, or your fur baby, and let's get started. All right, so picture this. You're at a friend's dinner party and meet a friend of a friend who immediately takes control of the conversation with captivating stories about their accomplishments an exciting life. They're charming, funny, and seem incredibly confident. As the night goes on, they single you out, showering you with attention, making you feel like the most interesting person in the room. Over the next few weeks, they start texting you frequently, make you feel like you found someone who truly understands you. They call just to hear your voice and surprise you with special gifts. Little time passes and they open up about their difficult past, painting themselves as someone who's been through so much trauma and overcome it all. You feel special because you feel like they trust you with their vulnerability. That someone that you just met is giving you all of this trauma dumping. And we're taking it in as love and vulnerability, but soon little red flags appear. They start making backhanded compliments about your choices or questioning your friends, suggesting they're not good for you. When you don't respond quickly enough to a text or make plans without them, they react dramatically, either going silent or accusing you of not caring about them. When you bring up concerns, they dismiss them or make you feel guilty, saying things like, why are you bringing up the past? What's once felt like an exciting rush of love now feels confusing and draining, but you're unsure how to pull away without upsetting them further. You look down at yourself and you cry as you look out the window and wonder, how did I get here? What happened? Where's the person that I loved or fell in love with? If you or someone you know has or is going through this, they are 100% being manipulated by a narcissist or another loser. And as I've said before, this can be a loved one of any dynamic, a mother, father, sibling, friend, or parental figure of any kind. And I'm sure you're wondering, how did you get here? Where's the person I fell in love with? What do I do next? Well, first of all, it is not your fault. This is exactly what they are trained to do. I don't know who trained them, but narcissists are well versed in the act of manipulation. And that's where it all started, with the mind. Narcissists and abusers in general have a special way of psychologically manipulating people to get what they want and get their way. They may use prolonged silent treatments or threats of abandonment to keep you compliant. And in the first segment, we will discuss some of the key psychological manipulation tactics that they use. So, first, let's start with the fact that you don't deserve any of the things that you're going through or have been through. You have done absolutely nothing wrong to see such a drastic change in someone's emotions and respect towards you. It is them. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it because it is a routine that they have used time and time again to completely understand that. Let's break down some of the key manipulation tactics narcissists use in relationships. Phew, say that shit 3 times. These behaviors are calculated, often subtle, and designed to keep you off balance and under the control. And the first and most important manipulation trick narcissists use is love bombing. So let's start at the beginning of where it all happened. According to Nebraska Medicine, the term love bombing is a term that was coined in the 1970s to describe a technique used by cult members to lure in recruits. But today it is often used to describe manipulative dating technique used by losers. At the beginning of the relationship, they overwhelm you with affection, compliments, and attention. It feels magical. Like you found your soulmate. But this is a tactic to win your trust quickly. Over time, the intensity fades, leaving you confused and longing for the version of them you first met. Now, I'm sure you're probably asking, well, Push-Up, what really is love bombing? Like, okay, we get it. It's a technique that she used, but what is it? Well, my loves, the goal of love bombing is to create intense emotional dependency quickly. Very quickly. And it's actually a psychological manipulation tactic that significantly impacts the brain, particularly by stimulating reward systems and emotional dependencies that make it difficult to recognize manipulation. Now, although there are many ways a person can exhibit love bombing, the National DV Hotline states that there are 4 common examples that will help you identify if love bombing is happening to you or someone you know. The first sign of love bombing is non-stop exaggerated compliments and what they refer to as soulmate status. This can be exhibited when they call you perfect all the time. They'll constantly call you their soulmate, or you're the one. I never met anyone like you. You're gonna be my spouse, and y'all met 6 seconds ago. I would like to personally say that this is also something that will carry on and increase in time. For example, I had an ex that would always tell me how beautiful I was, constantly. It was over the top and very unnecessary. And that no one could compare to me in his eyes. And that's all he seen was me and no one else. And let me tell you that is the manipulation. Granted that people can show affection and feelings and give compliments and it not be love bombing, but when it becomes something where you even look at them side-eyed, like, what is going on? It's probably love bombing, and it's more of a distraction because now you have convinced me that these are true. Things are true. These are factual. And so I'm not worried about any of the things you're out here actually doing because you have conditioned me to believe this. But, you have to trust your gut with these things as well. The second most common example of love bombing comes with over-the-top gifts or gestures. Think extravagant trips and lavish presents, often early on, and with time as the relationship begins to flourish and things get rough, this becomes a necessity in their eyes to reel you back in. It's called the Hoover effect.
Shed some light on some Hoover tactics that the narcissist will use just to Hoover you back in. They're cowardly people, so they will literally use a friend, a family member, or somebody else, a flying monkey, to come in and try to get you to talk to them. Number 2, being concerned of your safety or being concerned of your mental health. They might come around and say how are you doing? Are you okay? I'm concerned about you. 3, flip. They might turn around and be like, oh, did you call me? Call you and be like, oh, did you call me? Or they might message you and be like, oh, did you call me by accident? Number 4, false concern that, oh, maybe something's wrong with the kids, or maybe if you guys have kids together, they may talk about, again, something concerning the kids that's not necessarily something to talk about, right? Or be worried about. Together, just saying they love to use kids to put in the middle and get access to you to talk about whatever they feel like they want to talk about, or even just to have access to talk to you. 5, accidental. They might message you and be like, oh, sorry, that message was for somebody else. So they may call you and be like, oh, sorry, I butt dialed you, or that call was meant for somebody else. They come with that sentimental shit about how, oh, it might be your birthday or it might be your anniversary. You guys are not together or not talking, and they're trying to be sentimental, right? And that's with them trying to love bomb you, with them being sentimental and caring, and oh yeah, I wish you well, and today's our anniversary, so I just wanted to wish you anniversary even though we're not together, or today's your birthday and I still wanted to show you some love, and da-da-da. At the end of the day, where was that shit when you were with them? Remember that shit when they try to be sentimental when you're not with them. Number 7, crisis. Maybe something might be going on with them. Maybe they lost their job, or maybe they got into a minor car accident. It's not a big crisis, but it's a little crisis, and they want to involve you in it so that you can feel bad for them and come and be there for them just because something happened to them. Number 8, object. They might say, if you guys live together, or you guys were dating and maybe they used to come to your house, oh, I forgot something at your house and I really, really need it and it's so important, or it's not that important. Like, they'll use that object to leave it at your house and keep making excuses that they'll come for it. So then again, they'll always have access to make an excuse to either come over or again, talk to you because you have that object. Last but not least, bait and ghost, meaning that they will message you just to get a reaction out of you, just for you to show them that you did not block them, or just for you to show them that they will still get a response out of you. So what they do is they'll get that response from you by you answering that text message and then ghost you, not respond, or MIA, and then have you back wondering, what the hell did you do wrong? Are you crazy? Do they really love you? All that, stirring up all these emotions that you were trying to work on and let go. Remember, the narcissist's main objective and why they do the things that they do is to gain control over your mind and your emotion, and to gain supply over you. So stand in the facts to remind yourself of all these things that I shared with you, to wise up and rise up, to get out of that narcissistic relationship, or to start healing from that narcissistic relationship today.
It usually comes to a point that they always only do these grand gestures and nice things right after an argument or disagreement, and even sometimes right before, to win you over so you don't trip out when they ghost you or do whatever happens. They do this to gain a sense of trust and confidence within the relationship. This sends a flood of dopamine to the brain. And if you do not know what dopamine is, it is the brain's feel-good chemical. This creates a sense of euphoria and attachment to the person initiating the behavior and reinforcing the bond. Now, if any of us have experienced firsthand or has a loved one who has, we all look back and realize the relationship moved really fast. Phrases like, I've never felt this way before, or let's move in together, just days or weeks into dating. Things like, I love you within the first week and trying to conceive children with you within the days or weeks of meeting. Bad signs. Bad signs, guys. All bad, guys. Things like what I just mentioned, and also controlling habits like constant communication, like endless texts and calls, and needing your attention 24/7. And if they don't get it, they lash out, get mad, ignore you. That's love bombing. That is love bombing. Well, the third most common example of love bombing, and can cause codependency, a dependency formation. The brain begins to associate the love bomber with feelings of validation and self-worth. Over time, this can create a dependency on the manipulator, making it difficult to leave the relationship despite its toxicity. I also want to speak on those who are so deep into their narcissistic relationship that their narcissist is already showing signs of physical mistreatment and verbal mistreatment. Please understand that that is not normal. I remember when I first started recognizing these signs that something was wrong with my narcissistic relationship. And what happened was he made it seem like it was just he loved me so much. It was the love bombing came with it to try to justify it. And but it slowly faded and the mask finally slipped. And it became more of a fear when I would miss calls or not text back fast enough, or when he made me feel like I wasn't loving him enough. The unmasked version is their true selves, and that is the person you get when they feel they are losing control. Because I really, 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 really need you to understand that that was the love bombing mask. That was them winning your affection and love and showing you that they can be everything you possibly want them to be, but you gotta act right or I'll take that shit away. You see how confusing and unhealthy that sounds? That is not love, my loves. It is manipulation and abuse. All right, sorry for the side quest story, but I just had to let those who are going through the dangerous stages of their narcissistic relationship to know that you are not alone, and I am right here with you each step of the way, and I understand. Now, let's get back to it. Another sign of love bombing is discomfort with boundaries. They might react negatively if you ask for space or to slow things down. They see no problem in going through your phone or even blocking and deleting people without your knowledge, which is apparently a really big thing in the toxic love community that I don't understand. Like, Buddy even had my manager blocked. Like, I couldn't even, that's crazy to me. I don't understand it. I really don't. But they become irate at the thought of you doing anything with anyone else. Well, you don't even have to be cheating. You could be with your sister or your cousin. And they become upset and violent if you attempt to break up with them. And I only say attempt because when you're dealing with a narcissistic relationship or in a narcissistic toxic love, especially in a romantic dynamic, in their minds, in their world, they own you. And until they've decided they are done with you, they will do anything and everything to reel you back in. Essentially, love bombing hijacks the brain's reward systems, creating a cycle of addiction to the manipulator's approval while eroding critical thinking and self-awareness. Recognizing these effects can be a crucial step toward breaking free from unhealthy dynamics. Once that bond is formed, the person that might begin to manipulate or control you, it's important to remember that not every grand romantic gesture is love bombing. But if the love feels like a flood instead of a steady stream, it's worth pausing to evaluate, guys. Like, if it starts to feel overwhelming, it's worth reevaluating. These behaviors are designed to make you feel dependent and obligated, like you owe them your time, energy, and love. Now, I'm sure with all that information, you're wondering why. Why do people love bomb? What is the reasoning for it? And to be honest, love bombing, it's not always malicious, but it's often a sign of someone seeking control. It could stem from insecurity, a need for validation, or narcissistic tendencies. That said, the why behind their actions doesn't excuse the unhealthy behavior. Your well-being always comes first. We'll be talking more about the why in a later segment of this episode, but as for now, I just need you to know that you are not crazy. Your feelings are valid, and no matter what part of your healing journey you are at, you deserve to be loved for exactly who you are, and your boundaries should be respected. Now that we've identified the red flags of love bombing, let's talk about steps to stay grounded and aware if you ever do just so happen to run into it or if you are experiencing it right now. The first step would be to take your time. Healthy relationships unfold at a steady mutual pace. If things feel rushed, it's okay to say I like to slow things down. If they don't understand that, they might not be the one for you. One thing I've come to the logical conclusion of when it comes to a relationship is that if they want to be with you forever, y'all got a lifetime, right? No reason to rush it. If you tell them you like to slow things down and they've come to this all or nothing logic, this whole if I can't be with you as in a relationship, I don't want to be with you at all, they probably aren't meant for you. Do not ever bend your boundaries to please someone else, especially if those boundaries are affecting you in your everyday life or your mental health. Speaking on boundaries, that is the second and most important step of not only recognizing love bombing in any relationship dynamic. Make sure you are communicating your limits and even your abilities within the relationship, whether it's about how often you text or how quickly the relationship is progressing, whether you are setting boundaries with a family member about popping up or the decisions they make with your kids, whatever it may be. Make sure to express this matter of factly, not optional. These are not options. Your boundaries ain't optional. No, they do not have to like your boundaries. And if they don't like your boundaries, then why we don't want to be around them. We want to be around people who respect our boundaries and are healthy, right? They probably aren't going to respect them. You're going to have to cut a lot of people off in this healing era of yours. That is their personal problem. This is your life, and you have control over whatever and whoever and however long someone is in your life and your space. Never forget that. This is your life. Yes, I repeated myself because I've come to realize that when in the eye of the storm, we tend to forget that this is indeed our lives, and no one has to be in it. We don't want them there any longer, or better yet, if they are mistreating us in any capacity, you have the right to say forget that shit and walk away. Which brings me to awareness tip number 3. When entering any type of relationship dynamic, friend, romantic, family member, remember to keep the same energy with your loved ones. Ask your friends or family how they see the relationship. Sometimes an outside perspective can be incredibly clarifying. Although I do agree with this, I also know that everyone's advice isn't good advice. Please understand that. Please understand. Honestly, this is why I stress having a healthy-minded mentor or therapist of some kind, which leads me to awareness number 4. Trust your gut. I put up 4, trust your gut. If something feels off, honor that feeling. You don't need proof to walk away from a situation that doesn't feel right. You owe no one anything, no matter what they've convinced you to believe. I know it's crazy, but I genuinely had to come to the conclusion that people, even people we like, have every right to wake up one day and decide that they either no longer want to be in our lives or no longer want to deal with us. And we have the right to feel like that about other people. And that is perfectly okay. That respecting boundaries also means respecting others' boundaries as well. Does it suck that people have the right? Absolutely sucks. It also sucks that people think they can manipulate and bully their way into our lives, but here we are, Anywho, another way to protect your heart is by prioritizing mutuality. Real love isn't about one person showering the other with everything. It's about building together, step by step. It's about communicating and respecting each other. If you get swept up in grand gestures and constant attention without seeing equal effort and mutual understanding, respect, and shared values, it's worth pausing to evaluate. A healthy relationship thrives on balance, where both people give and receive in ways that feel supportive and authentic. Love isn't measured by how much one person does for the other, but by how both partners grow together, support each other, and create a foundation that stands the test of time. So I'm sure there's someone watching this and realizing that they are indeed being love bombed. And I'm sure you're wondering, what do I do? Well, first, love, give yourself some grace and love. Be gentle with yourself because it's not your fault. Manipulative people are often very skilled at what they do. Give yourself permission to process your emotions, anger, sadness, confusion, rage, whatever that may be. If you feel unsafe, reach out for help, whether it's talking to a trusted friend, therapist, or support line. And I will be putting that info at the end of this video, as I try to do with all my videos. You don't have to go through this alone. Healing is a journey, and you deserve all the time and support you need to feel like yourself again. You deserve steady, true love, because love should feel like the warm glow of sunlight, not a wildfire that burns too fast. If someone makes you question your worth or instincts, that's not love. It's manipulation. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, respect your boundaries, and make you feel seen and valued for who you are. Remember, the right person will never make you feel rushed, obligated, or unsure about yourself. You are worthy of love that is kind, consistent, and real. And with that, we're going to take a breather and come back and get onto the next subject. This part of the video is about 3 segments separately. So give me grace, but we're going to get through this, guys. Go get you some more snacks. And I'll see you in just a bit. Welcome back. And if you made it this far into this episode, I want to say thank you for the support. But I am so proud of you. You are doing such an amazing job on your healing journey, and I think that should be celebrated every step of the way. Now that we have been introduced to love bombing, let's take a minute to understand gaslighting and the true definition and its purest form. I'm sure this is one of those words you've heard very often with the uprise of toxic masculinity, which I plan to do an episode on in the very near future. So make sure to like and subscribe to get notifications on that as well. But anywho, let's talk about gaslighting. Gaslighting is a manipulation tactic that many abusers and narcissists use in order to maintain control. It makes you question your own reality and even feel crazy. Gaslighting can sound like that never happened, but it absolutely did happen. It also can sound like you're just making things up. It wasn't that bad. With this type of conditioning being drilled into your mind, you begin to question your own judgment. You begin to question your memory and even your sanity. And this is the surface of gaslighting and what we know about it. But let's dig a little deeper and find the roots of gaslighting, because that's what we do here at Daydreaming in the Garden, right? All right, let's go. Gaslighting is a type of psychological manipulation tactic where someone makes you question your perceptions, memory, and sanity. It's not always loud or obvious. In fact, it's usually very subtle and nonchalant, which is what makes it such a dangerous tactic when used by so many abusers and narcissists. Although it hit social media by storm around the time mental health became trending, which we love, right? Right? What we don't love is how we weaponized it. It has become very weaponized. I don't like that at all. Have y'all noticed that? So let me help you to better understand it at its depth. The term comes from the 1944 film Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into thinking she's losing her mind by dimming the gas lights in their home and denying it when she notices. In real life, gaslighting looks like someone rewriting events, dismissing your feelings, or undermining your confidence in your own thoughts. Something I'm sure many of us have experienced or seen at some point or another. I also know that these are tactics that can be hard to recognize if you aren't familiar with them. I remember when I was going through my toxic love phase, I definitely had times where I genuinely thought nothing was real. And I questioned in it and everything. It became a game of psychological torture towards myself. And it got really dark. So for those of you who felt what I felt or find feeling something similar, I would like to lay out the common signs of gaslighting. The first one will always be denying reality. They insist something didn't happen, even when you have physical, actual proof. For instance, I remember one time I was at the narcissist's house and seen a girl calling his phone. A girl we had problems about in the past. He deleted his whole call log and text log, y'all, and then asked me to find the proof that I had just seen before he deleted it. And it's such a common manipulation tactic that abusers in a toxic love dynamic, because as long as they can keep you questioning reality, the longer they can get away with the messed up things they are doing. Another common trait of gaslighting is twisting the truth. And this is different than denying reality because they will selectively change details of an event to shift the blame on you or others to make you the problem. Along with this comes another very widely used tactic within the toxic love community, which is minimizing feelings. They'll dismiss your emotions as overreactions or unnecessary and make you feel as though you are wrong for having those feelings or boundaries. Listen, you are not crazy. Your emotions are valid and you should be treated as such. When you tell people how something made you feel, their response shouldn't be you being too dramatic or it ain't even that deep. You aren't being too dramatic and it is indeed that deep. Sorry to get off into a side quest there, but I felt it needed to be said. Anywho, another tactic of gaslighting that toxic love is common for is shift blaming or deflection. They try to justify their actions by saying it's your fault, or if you didn't do this or act this way, I wouldn't be like this. That's shift blaming. That's deflection. And it's also very damaging to your mental state. Now, with all that information, I'm sure the question has arisen as to why people gaslight and what the purpose of it all is. Well, in short, to maintain control, to maintain domination over the relationship. Gaslighting stems from a need to control and is commonly used by people with manipulative tendencies such as abusers and narcissists. Let me also add that all abusers aren't narcissists, but all narcissists are abusers. I'm sorry. Someone can show narcissistic traits without being diagnosed with NPD. And to be honest, as crazy as it may sound, many narcissists become jealous of independence and the admiration that you possess and receive. Many will say and do sly jealous or things to make you question your qualities with it that they claimed they loved in the beginning. I know I got off topic there, but I say all this to say if you are feeling these things, it is absolutely normal within toxic love. That's the dynamic that they give. And it is absolutely not healthy, nor should it be tolerated. It shouldn't be tolerated. It's not necessary. Although there are plenty of times where gaslighting can and will be done with malicious intent, just because you recognize someone is gaslighting you doesn't mean that they are abusive or are a narcissist. But it does mean that a conversation needs to be assessed further, because regardless of the intent, gaslighting is never acceptable and it shouldn't be done, regardless the person or the situation. And although it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, some people gaslighting can leave behind many emotional and psychological scars, including things like self-doubt and confusion with oneself. I remember when I first escaped my toxic love relationship. Yes, I said escape. Because that's what you do. I started finding myself always questioning my own thoughts and reality. And that was a while ago that I finally escaped, and I still do. You begin to find it hard to trust yourself again. And you begin feeling as though your life needs to be controlled by someone else because It has been the entire relationship. It has been controlled for a very long time. So you had no control over your life or your actions or your thoughts. And once you leave that relationship, that feeling still lingers. And it's okay and totally natural to feel like this when coming out of an abusive, controlling, toxic love dynamic. You aren't crazy. They were lying. And if you are still in the midst of this dynamic, you need to get out as safely and fastly as you can. Other symptoms of gaslighting can be low self-worth, withdrawing from friends and becoming isolated and even depressed. To be honest, you'll more than likely begin to feel symptoms of withdrawal as well. Yeah, you withdrawal.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yes, yeah, I know. I know how some of you probably started looking at the screen, but it's absolutely true. The cycle of love bombing and gaslighting has an effect on the brain similar to that of drugs. The dopamine that the love bombing releases becomes addicting. You want to seek their approval and love all over again, and then the symptoms of the gaslighting take you into a low because they are degrading you now. They're making you feel insane. And so you go through this very tough cycle of love and highs and lows of the relationship, which also has there's a model for that I'm gonna find and throw in here, right in here. I'm gonna find that it's a whole like the abusive wife model or something. I'm gonna find it, and we're gonna figure that out. Leaving someone, I'm sorry, y'all, I didn't mean to get off topic like that, but leaving someone who has love bombed and gaslighted you can have a dramatic effects, but the good thing is it doesn't have to continue, and you can take control of your life and begin healing from this. The first step will always be to recognize what is happening and set boundaries. If you have experienced gaslighting, firstly take a deep breath and remind yourself that it is not your fault. Bad people just exist. Gaslighting thrives on making you feel small, but here you are right now taking the steps to reclaim your power. And I'm so excited for you, and I'm proud of you because this in itself, watching this video means so much towards your healing journey. Healing takes time, so be patient. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with others. You surround yourself with people who validate and uplift you. And if you need help untangling the effects of gaslighting and abuse, reaching out to a therapist can be a huge help. You deserve to be seen, to be heard. And friend, let me say this loud and clear. You deserve any relationship where you feel safe, respected, and understood. Love and connection should never make you doubt your reality or silence your truth or your voice. Gaslighting and love bombing are designed to dim your light, but your truth and resilience is so much stronger, and I'm so proud of you. You deserve to be your authentic self, and I promise you, no matter what anyone has said or done, that is the truth. Now, for the next segment of this, we will be talking about one that is not very known or popular. And honestly, I feel like it is known. And in, my community, I would just call it being messy. But apparently the medical psychological term for it is triangulation. This one kind of threw me off. I'm not gonna lie. It's a new word, but I mean, the tactic is just being messy, I would like to say. But who am I to say? So, triangulation. If you've ever felt caught in the middle of someone else's drama, been pitted against someone else, or felt manipulated into taking sides, you've likely experienced triangulation. This behavior can be subtle or blatant. Did I say that right? But either way, it's toxic and emotionally exhausting. And to be honest, even after me saying that, you're still confused. So let me go a little deeper. Triangulation is a manipulation tactic where one person involves a third party to control, confuse, or gain an advantage in a relationship. Being messy? They do this instead of addressing issues directly, creating a triangle of interactions to shift focus, avoid accountability, or maintain power. And just like with any manipulation tactic, it isn't limited to romantic partnerships. This can happen in families, friendships, workplaces, or any social group. As with any manipulation tactic, it's all about the dynamic of control. Now, even after I read that, I personally was still kind of confused, and I am a hands-on learner. Like, you gotta show me. I couldn't see it. So I went to find some examples. So the first example we have will be called the middleman scenario. When someone uses a third party to deliver messages, often with their own little twist. For example, my ex used to make up whole conversations with him and other people about me, and then he would tell me about these conversations. And mind you, I can't talk to these folks. I don't know these people. So you have caused tension, and the second scenario plays off of that by pitting people against each other, because now you've caused tension and created this rivalry with these unknown people about these unknown conversations that y'all done had that nobody knows about but you. So this was one that I felt like I needed to do a little more research on, but I was kind of rushing to get this done because it's been almost 2 weeks since I've been working on this script for 2 weeks, and to be honest, my mind is just fried. So, a second scenario, the scenarios that play with this are insane, but okay, for example, say someone says, well, your brother says you're just lazy and you need to do better. That is creating the middleman scenario. Within that scenario, they have also created tension with you and your brother. This has ultimately already created a triangle within your life. And then they try and slide into this third scenario where they've been caught up on the bull ass and nothing's working. So they try to gain sympathy by playing the victim. They will run off and tell someone a twisted, one-sided story of the events to gain support and sympathy. And usually these people are people you'll never actually get to talk to yourself. Crazy. That's usually how that works. Because that's the point. They can't keep them on their side if they get to hear your side of the story too, right? So, no, you're not crazy. They're keeping people to themselves to talk shit about you. They'll also go to people you know and try to get, like, them on their side with these delusions that they have. And, they need people to validate their narrative, which really plays hand in hand with them playing victim. So they'll say things like, even our other friends think you're overreacting, or even my homeboy thinks you're being irrational. And it's all just a deflection type of tactic that keeps you confused and feeling guilty. And in some type of way, abusers and narcissists have one actual reason to do a lot of the things they do, and it's just to gain and maintain control. That's all. That's just what it is. I did that take 3 times, and it makes my head hurt. I'm so fried on this episode, y'all. I am fried. Like, this episode has taken a lot out of me, and I'm at this point, I just really hope y'all like it. Now, as with all manipulation tactics, just because someone exhibits triangulation doesn't mean they are an abuser or that they are a narcissist. They could just be messy. Honestly, like, they could just be messy. There are many other non-malicious reasons that people exhibit manipulative behavior, and another reason would just be to simply avoid conflict. Some people are just not good with conflict, and I don't understand that, because you're making more conflict by doing dumb shit. They're uncomfortable addressing issues head on, so they'll involve others to deflect their responsibility. I know this is something that I was really bad at growing up due to my mother being very verbally abusive or aggressive anytime I decide to speak on my feelings, but it is something you can work on, and with the help of my therapist, I have done just that. But some people don't care to work on that. So, like, some people just gonna always be messy. You gotta let some people go. Another reason people triangulate is to gain validation or sympathy. Many people seek reinforcement for their perspective by rallying others to their side, because dividing and conquering is the best chance they got toward manipulating anybody. They will intentionally discard between people to keep them from uniting and realizing that they really, truly are just a piece of trash that belongs in the gutter. And for those who are actually dealing with a narcissist, it's just a way to secure attention, admiration, and control while keeping everyone around them off balance and in the dark in some type of way. They thrive on chaos and genuinely feed on the energy of those around them. Narcissists are not good people. They're not good human beings. Now, knowing that, how do we recognize it? Well, it's very easy to recognize as long as you stay grounded and realistic, but For a lot of us, I'm sure we know when someone's being messy. But most important thing, we have to set boundaries. The first thing to watch for is indirect communication. If someone is constantly involving a third party to deliver messages or address conflict, that's weird. That's a good sign of triangulation. Never trust the source that you got it from. Go directly to the source. Always do your own research. When someone starts that she said, he said, they said thing, go ask. And y'all don't go to them folks being aggressive. Don't go to them folks like, well, no, we're not doing all that. We're just trying to get down to the bottom of things. Y'all got to start working on y'all delivery. For real. I'm going to talk about that. Y'all got to work on y'all delivery. Y'all don't be meaning no harm, but y'all got to work on that delivery, yo. Talk to them folks for some sense. Another red flag to identify triangulation would be unnecessary comparisons. If they compare to you to someone else all the time to create tension or insecurity, take note. Write that down. Jot it down. Take a picture if you need to. Things like comparing you to your siblings, cousins, or their exes, weird behavior. Very weird behavior, love. Another thing, keep track of all these one-sided stories. They'll give you all these one-sided stories and bombard you with all these problems so you'll forget all the other problems that y'all got going on. No. Tell them folks we're going to work it out one problem at a time. People that fail to take accountability and try to get others to cheer them on are definitely to be looked at. Look at the folks. Figure out what's going on. They have unresolved conflict, like issues that never get addressed directly, or instead it spirals into a whole bunch of drama. Weird. You don't know how to take accountability. You don't know how to talk shit out. Adding your friends or even they friends is a triangulation play as well. It's all weird. Why can't you just talk to me like an adult? Why did you bring all these other people into it? Now, as I've said before, triangulation is something that can be recognized. And just like all manipulation tactics, it's here to handle how you find yourself in the middle of a triangle. Now, as I've said before, triangulation is something that can be recognized, just like all manipulation tactics. And here's how to handle it if you find yourself in the middle of a triangle. For one, step aside outside the triangle. Refuse to take sides or get involved with someone else's conflict. Refuse to feed on someone's triangulation. When they say they talk to such and such, ask them why they didn't come to you first. Or tell them to go talk to such and such. Don't get distracted with the nonsense. Stay grounded and aware. Make sure you are establishing boundaries. Let them know how you feel and that you should communicate with them directly. Let people know you won't engage in indirect communication from parties before forming an opinion or letting tension build. And last but not least, protect your energy in all aspects. Distance yourself if you feel like it is a common habit for them, because this is a big red flag. People thrive on chaos, and I don't like that. People that do this is often definitely have bigger issues to worry about. Now, in some cases, triangulation can escalate into emotional abuse, especially if it's part of a pattern of manipulation or control and it is aligning with all the other red flags like love bombing and gaslighting. You are definitely dealing with an emotional abuser of some kind. Toxic love can definitely feel like a web of confusion and tension, but recognizing it is the first step to breaking free. You deserve relationships that are built on trust, respect, and open communication. Relationships where you feel valued and heard, not manipulated or divided. Now, please let me reiterate that these are just the most common signs and tactics of manipulation and toxic love. But every manipulator and abuser is different, and they may exhibit these behaviors in very extremely aggressive ways or even extremely nonchalant ways. I remember when I first started going through the mask falling off phase with my toxic ex, and he would make it seem like this is just what real love is, and nobody else has ever loved you, and this is real love. He convinced me that real love was passionate, that it was controlling, and that his love made him do the things he did. Like, his love made him PA me. His love made him VA me. His love made him stalk me. And his love made him aggressive towards me when things didn't go his way. I'm here to tell you from someone who believed that it wouldn't get worse, that he wouldn't put his hands on me, that he wouldn't have me scared for my life. He did. To a point I used to sleep on the bathroom floor of my apartment with the door locked to my bathroom, as well as my chain and bolt lock on my front door and a weapon under the pillow that I laid on the floor with, because I was terrified when I would leave him or try to attempt to leave him. Or if I even tried to speak on his infidelity. Terrified. Terrified to have my own opinion, terrified to have my own thoughts, terrified to speak up for myself. That is not love. That is abuse in its highest and most intense form. You are being brainwashed into believing that love is the ultimate sacrifice of life or death, and that it won't get worse, but it always does. I was almost unalived. I almost lost my life in the name of love, and all because I decided to ask him about his infidelity. He became irate, and with seconds, I was almost gone. They will take you from your kids, your family, your life, in one way or another, and eventually it will consume your every thought. You will begin to feel hopeless and lost and upset that you even let this happen. But you didn't. You didn't let this happen, and this isn't your fault. And you are so amazing to be here right now. I love you for choosing you and trying to figure all this out, because it is a lot. You are not alone. Deciding to step away from an abusive loved one can be one of the most courageous choices you will ever make. It's a testament to your strength, your worth, and your desire for a life filled with peace and genuine love. The path to healing is not always straightforward. It's layered, it's complex, and it's going to be hard and deeply personal to you. But even in the moments of pain and doubt, remember that this too shall pass. Healing starts with honoring your emotions and your grief and anger and confusion. All of it. Allow yourself to feel judgment, seek professional support if you can, and therapists or counselors can even help you untangle the threads of manipulation and rebuild your sense of self. Surround yourself with people who uplift and validate you, and take things one step and one day at a time. Reclaim your narrative by rediscovering what makes you happy and whole. Practice journaling and mindfulness. Create self-care routines so that you can reconnect to your inner self. Please remember, you have or are going through a lot, and forgiveness is needed. We forgave them so many times. So now it's time to give that same energy to yourselves. You'll find yourself mad and, in a sense, sad about cutting off a manipulator or abuser, but that's okay. It was never your fault. Healing isn't linear, and that's okay. Celebrate very small victories, whether it's setting boundaries, finding joy again, or simply waking up with a lighter heart. Above all, trust the pain of the past. It doesn't define your future, and you are more resilient than you know, and every step you take toward healing is a step toward reclaiming your power. You deserve love that feels like freedom, not fear. You deserve a life where soul feels at home. And with that, I will close with a poem, as I try to always do. Today I choose to rise, unbound to the shed, unbound. Today I choose to rise, unbound, to shed the shadows that held me down. The echoes of the pain, though they may linger, are softer now slipping through my fingers. Each step I take, a bridge I burn. Each lesson learned, a corner turned. I am not the scars, I am the healing. The quiet strength, the hope unsealing. In the ashes, new roots will grow. A garden of love I've yet to know. For every ending births a start, and I hold the map within my heart. You know, growing up, I was always told what happens in this house stays in this house, but what happens in this house will be told. This is your new beginning, and you are brave for stepping into it. The journey won't be easy or pretty, but it will be worth it. You are not alone, and you are so deeply loved. And until we meet again, my daydreamers, with love, strength, and grace, your friend, Pork Chop.